Now this is the problem. You have to be flexible. If the heart is stiff, the diastolic blood pressure rises, and because of becoming stiff heart, the person who is not easy to dilate, such a person who is the exercise. Look at here. If Senglis side muscle is stiff, what happens? When the Senglis exercise, it hurts. It's painful, and the pain bothers the exercise. The person who has a stiff heart can dilate this much and try to dilate more than the heart pains. Oh, ouch! It happens like this. That's called angina. Angina is caused by a stiff heart. Then why does it hurt? Why? Folks, we have many different ways to express pains everyday life. To feel a stitch, to twinge, to feel stiff, to be chilled. We have strange expressions. What is the truth most important cause of these? Poor oxygen supply. When the muscles aren't supplied enough oxygen, then the water supply isn't enough. Oxygen and water supplies. That's air and water. How basic is it? When it's not enough, you always feel pains. Especially women in Korea have pains all the time. To feel the pain, to feel the stitch, to be chilled, and to feel stiff. Honey, give me a massage. To rub and press it with the fingers and permit to give him or her the massage. They said they feel refreshed. Why they feel refreshed? Increase oxygen supply. Rubbing and pummeling increase oxygen supply. Oh, I feel refreshed. If you don't have anyone who rubs and pummels you, where are you going? Sauna. So you'd make your body warm up then. Oh, I feel refreshed. Why? Because of the increasing the oxygen supply. Then where does the oxygen supply come from? Capillary. Capillary is very thin blood vessel. It looks like a thread. So being inflexible and stiff, that means it isn't developed enough. When it decreases, it starts to be chilled. To feel the stitch and feel the pain, and to be chilled and feel the stitch. This kind of stuff, the most effective way to restore is to the capillary to have the most branch and the longer. But the capillary they grow out and shrink very easily. So when it supplies the oxygen well, then it's getting to the flexible. When it doesn't supply the well, then it's getting the stiff. The healthy person has a lot of the thread capillaries. Then the nutritional and the oxygen supplies goes all over the place. This is a real healthy person. But if you don't use the capillaries, it will be shrunk. It's shrunk right away. A method that doesn't use capillaries, living in a way that damages the capillaries, they will be shrunk. Then the body will be stiff. The heart and kidney will be stiff. All these organs are healthy when the capillaries are widespread. By the way, how important capillaries is a blood vessel. It's an also capillary that supplies the nutrients to the vascular wall. This is a large blood vessel, and this is the capillary. If this capillary is the shrink or the clogged, what happened to the large blood vessel? It starts to break and get sick, such as the aneurysm. The arteries are bulging, and after that, if it's the burst, the person's becomes a life-threatening situation. So the basic stuff is capillary. We need this very much. So we need the capillary to the branch, multiply, and maintain it. This is the most fundamental way to live the healthy life. So this capillary is so easy to shrink. So you have to live with this the capillary stretched. But what's the problem? Our eating the heavy sand, the capillaries are deeply depleted. What's the red stuff in the capillaries? It's a red blood cell. This blood that carries oxygen is very clean blood. It's a clear blood. So they pass through the capillary smoothly and supply the oxygen to the cell properly. How about the blood cell here? They got stuck with each other. What the person eats. The person had greasy food, high fat diet. Whether it's vegetable oil or the animal oil, eating too much greasy food, this is what happens. You know what I mean? So when I do this lecture, I don't have greasy food at all. I have to eat natural food, not greasy food. Then the oxygen is well supplied to the brain. So the idea that struck to me that what should I speak next, the one after another, and I feel also good. Then, for example, you ate pork belly. If you did that, this is what happens when the red blood cell can't pass through capillaries, and this is what happens. Then what happens from the end of the capillaries? We are clogged. We shouldn't come here anymore. The road is closed. As the road gradually disappears, the capillaries are disappearing. So the worst part is that the capillaries is getting to disappear. Then not only the disappeared capillaries, the blood pressure is rising. Because our human body has 5 liters of the blood. The 5 liters of blood in our body, they make it stop the flowing. When the stopping more than the 4 liters of blood is at capillaries. So when the capillaries spread well, then the blood goes smoothly. But if you keep eating greasy food, then it keeps clogging. So right after eating the greasy food, the blood pressure rises a bit. 120 is normal. 124 or the 126, it rises like this. But the problem is that whatever I eat, T-bone steak or the pork belly or the fried shrimp, even though eat the greasy food, taking the blood pressure only 126. Then what's that the blood pressure is normal. Why? Doctors think that the lower than the 140, they don't think it's hypertension. That's statistically, but actually the blood pressure went up, doesn't it? It went up. You just eat the greasy food 126, then eating salty and spicy food 130. You get angry something, 132 or 134. Even though it went up, it's normal. It's not that hypertension. Then what do people think? Oh, even though they're getting angry, eating the pork belly, the salty and the spicy food, we don't get hypertension. We think this way and leave. Folks, you thought so, didn't you? So this isn't the cause. Well, we ate salty, spicy and greasy food so far, but we didn't get hypertension. Then a couple of days later, what happens to the blood pressure? Come back to the normal. Well, this is another big problem. This is another big deal. So don't eat the salty food, that's also the same. Then don't eat the greasy food, that's also another big deal. Thinking this way and live around 50. Even though eating the salty and greasy food, not over 140. It was around 130. But